Welcome to the Monday Method. I'm your host, Liz Mayer, life, career, and business coach, and I am obsessed with helping you create the life you love so you stop living for the weekends and start loving your Mondays. This show is dedicated to you women who do it all, from building careers to building families to becoming the version of yourself you love. This show provides you with the tools to get you off the hamster wheel of burnout so you can give what matters in your life the best of you, not the rest of you. Are you ready to create a life so good you look forward to Mondays? Then let's go. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the show today. I want to talk about an issue that I hear a lot with my coaching clients and with a lot of you, which is essentially the issue that you feel like you're doing everything right, but you haven't been chosen. You haven't been promoted. Maybe you're not recognized for what you're doing. You're not getting a seat at the table, so to speak. So I want to talk about that. And I want to give you a couple signals first to help you understand if you might be in this situation or you're about to be placed in this situation. If you've ever left a meeting thinking, oh, I'm doing everything right, I'm working so hard, so why am I not getting anywhere? If you feel like that often, if you find yourself saying that, stay with me, because I want to give you a belief shift that might sting just a little, but it will also free you. Because the truth is you are not stuck because you lack confidence. You are not stagnant because you lack talent. You are feeling the way you are feeling because you haven't necessarily installed a system that helps you influence in rooms. And once you see it, you're not going to be able to unsee it. And that's what I'm going to help you uncover today. So let's get into the real problem that I see over and over again with high achieving women. You deliver, you over prepare, you're reliable AF, you say yes to anything that comes up, any sort of request. You're the one that people trust to get it done, okay? From the outside, you are viewed as impressive in your expertise. But from the inside, you might be feeling a little exhausted and you might be feeling a little bit like you are constantly in this cycle of responding and reacting. And you're also wondering why a promotion or more visibility or more money hasn't followed that excellence. And typically when this happens, the belief that's quietly running the show in your head is if you keep performing, you'll be promoted. And I'm saying that to you, but what it sounds like in your head is, I just have to keep performing and then I'm going to be promoted. But this performance is actually creating dependency. What I mean by that is if you are too valuable in execution, you're too risky to promote. It's like, I don't know if you've ever heard the term like, oh, this person has golden handcuffs. That means they are too good at the day-to-day, and if they leave, the day-to-day would fall apart. And let that land for a second, because this is typically a massive aha with my clients. You're not underqualified. You're actually under-leveraged. Promotions are not going to come, especially at the senior level, from effort. They're going to come from engineered influence. So you've been told that visibility equals promotion, okay? And I want to construct that a little bit more, and I want to actually challenge what that means or what you might be thinking it means. So, a lot of you believe that you need to work harder. A lot of you might be hearing that you need to network more or that you need to raise your hand more. But all those things are good, but you really need to make sure that you have a strategic approach, a structured approach to engineering your influence. And so, what I would offer you, because you could do a lot of things, I want you to focus on 3 main things to help you get the promotion, to help you get the visibility that you want, and to help you be effective in the time that you have. So here are the 3 things I want to offer you. Number 1, promotion requires invitation into strategic conversations. Promotion also requires perceived leadership capacity. And promotion requires role leverage, not task excellence. And none of those 3 things are created by you working later. They're created by you taking ownership of what work you do and how you structure your time. So ultimately, design. So let's talk about design. I'm going to give you 3 structural shifts that can help you immediately change perception. So the first shift is calendar architecture. Your calendar signals your level. Now, even if you are a director, how you spend your time tells me if you're actually working at the visionary level or if you're working and operating at the task level. What I mean by that is if your week is packed with operational meetings, you are signaling that you are an operator, that you are a task master. Even if you're brilliant, even if you're the smartest person in the room. So what I want you to do is instead of spending all that time in these executional meetings, even if that's a big part of your role, I want you to start challenging yourself to make time for 2 reoccurring blocks. Now, ideally, these would be like 90-minute blocks, but I will take 45-minute blocks. And these blocks for you need to be strategic impact sessions every week, 2 of them. Maybe you have one on Mondays, maybe you have one more towards the end of the week or middle of the week. But in these 45-minute or 90-minute sessions, you are treating these as non-negotiable blocks, and you are taking your brain time and your brain energy to focus on the strategic initiatives that matter most to the decision makers in your organization. That could be your boss, that could be the board of directors, that could be whatever your key customers are, but you're going to devote your time and energy to thinking about and to making decisions on what you need to do and what you could do in order to impact that agenda. Now, that can be within the scope of your team's role. It can be outside of it if you feel like there's actually bigger picture opportunities that are being missed. But you need to start taking the time for visionary leadership within your week. And so that is the first thing that you need to do. It should be a non-negotiable. It should be your time to protect yourself, to think at the level of your quarterly and annual priorities, any of those big rocks that your organization is focused on or maybe not focused on that you need them to focus on, and you are going to protect that time. And when you get into that time, I want you to notice that energy that you're bringing. You're bringing strategic energy. You're asking yourselves questions like, where am I going to play? How am I going to win? What do I need to do to enable the results to elevate myself and, your team, obviously, as well? The thing is, too, is that some of you are going to say, I don't have 2 45-minute blocks. And if you don't have 2 45-minute blocks, then you need to give yourself permission to take them. Not ask to be excused from the meeting. Stick your neck out and give yourself permission, because premium leaders, visionary leaders, don't ask permission to think. They create the space. So I want you to try that this week. Give it a few months to sit in and watch how your energy shifts and watch how your ability to influence shifts, because your perspective is being spent on more visionary issues, not the day-to-day. Okay, the next shift is I want you to position your recommendations versus explaining them. Most women explain. They walk through the context. They build all the evidence in the upfront. They soften language. And as a result, they're relying on their audience, whether it's one person or a room full of people, to connect the dots. Instead, I want you to focus on always starting any sort of presentation, email, recommendation, whatever it is, with a bottom line request at the front of your message, then having maybe 2 to 3 points of evidence, and then closing your recommendation with the benefit of what it means for your audience or your decision maker. So traditionally, we are taught in school to basically write term papers, which is a lengthy body of work where we're putting all this context up front, and then we wonder why we get snooze fest when we're asking for something or we're losing our audience. And it's often because individuals do not have a very high attention span. And if the work you do is highly focused on a specific area of expertise or complicated, you can lose people. And so anytime you get into a room or you're sending an email or you have the opportunity to make a recommendation, you want that request to be incredibly clear so it makes the job of your audience easier to digest. So I'll give you an example. Your bottom line: I need an additional FTE. I need an additional full-time equivalent. Then you go into your evidence. The team's workload has grown. Other companies that in our competitive set are investing in this area. And then maybe you showcase some results of the team. Okay, so that would be your evidence. And keep it to 2 to 3 points. Then you end with the benefit to the greater good, right? This would benefit the organization because it would continue to elevate our performance in this channel, or this would help us drive more results versus focusing on other areas. Whatever that is, you always want to close with what is in it for them. And that's where you want to be very aware of what the individuals on the other side of the table care about, right? If it's top line growth, make sure your recommendation is rooted in that. If it's profitability, tie your recommendation to profitability. If it's industry expertise, if it's whatever it is, culture, you want to make sure that that bottom line evidence and then that last result is all about what your audience cares about. We tend to get stuck anytime we're making a request and asking ourselves, what do I say? And then you tend to forget about the individuals on the other side of the table are humans that have their own needs. So anytime you go about constructing your message, you want to make sure that you always know what is in it for them. So that structure does a few things for you. It's going to signal clarity. It's going to show your audience that you are capable of making decisions and making clear recommendations. It signals ownership, and it signals your leadership capacity. And all that is doing is giving you engineered language, and it's something that you can use anytime. And I would challenge you to use it this week, even if it's on something simple like an email, and watch the responsiveness when you can help individuals see the benefit in your recommendation. Okay, the last shift I want to give you is the strategic ask. If you don't have a seat at the table, you're not asking for it, typically. Now, there's always going to be instances where there's limited seats. There are only certain levels in your company that are involved, but I would challenge you to just ask. And the way that you can ask for a seat at the table is literally going to whoever that decision maker is. Maybe it's your boss, maybe it's a key project owner, and say, I'd love to contribute on this initiative. Where could I be most useful at the strategic level? Or you could say, I'd love to contribute on this level for this project. Here are my recommendations of how I could help. And you just simply ask. That's it. You don't over-explain. You don't prove. You don't have to perform. You just make a clear and direct ask. Because the truth is that the women and men who are getting promoted are not waiting to be discovered. They are engineering proximity to decisions. Now, some of you might say, well, that meeting or that initiative is for a certain level within the company, and that's okay. You can still offer to contribute. You can contribute by asking to do some work behind the scenes and then asking to have time on an agenda to present the work. That's a good example of asking and then negotiating where your visibility can be created. So think about that. Now, let me say something very important. I'm giving you some little scripts. I'm telling you to block your calendar, which you can very easily do. And I know that you are highly capable of making that ask. But if you go back into the same structure, if you fall back into that role that you need to be the expert all the time, and you keep identity to the doer, to the most reliable person, you're going to keep yourself in those golden handcuffs. Now, books create awareness. These podcasts are going to create inspiration, but your influence and your transformation does require rehearsal, which means installed behavior, repetition, and the support of a coach. So leadership is not just a posture, it is a practice. And so if this speaks to you, I want to invite you to consider joining the Monday Collective. It is a group where we practice this. We talk about how we can install our influence, protect our time, and protect our energy. And so all of the things I'm talking about and so many other things are what this group focuses on. So if you're done performing and you're ready to engineer your growth, the door is open. And if this episode gave you even one micro shift, send it to another woman who's doing everything right and is ready to be chosen and just needs that shift. So thank you, friend, for giving me your time. Keep building your influence, keep protecting your energy, and keep creating the life so good that you look forward to your Mondays. I will see you next week. Well, hey, friend. Thank you for spending time with me. As a thank you for spending your very limited, precious time, I want to offer you access to a free masterclass on how to create personal and professional success without burnout. You can access the link in the show notes or head over to lizmayercoaching.com and click on the link to access this free masterclass. Thanks again for spending time with me, and I cannot wait for you to love your Mondays. See you, friend.